G'day, I'm Ryan, your Chief Espresso Officer, and today I'm going to take you on a deep review of the Breville Barista Pro, which is the upgraded model from the Breville Barista Express. And there's a lot of different things to look at in this model, and we'll go through all of the new features, all of the upgrades, some of the hacks, and how to get the best out of it if you want to buy it. So let's get into it. So the Breville Barista Pro, or the BES878, is the upgrade from the Barista Express. And I'm glad they did upgrade it because it's significantly better. The Barista Express I do not rate at all. I just think they made really cheap moves with that one compared to, say, their dual boiler range, which is fantastic and I think still is the best machine out there for $1,000. The Barista Pro is, as you can see, it's a tidy unit and it has the grinder built in, which, you know, is debatable as to whether that's the best way to build a machine or not. However, if you're on a budget around 800 Australian dollars, you get a machine and a grinder all in one and a very decent machine, it's a good buy. I'm of the opinion that your grinder should be separate. But I do understand that not everyone has $1,500 to fork out for a grinder and a machine on its own. This definitely captures that end of the market. Now, let's have a look at what's in the box. One of the best functions that all the Breville machines is they are quick to boil and quick to heat up. Literally from start, you can get a couple of minutes and then it's ready to go. And then you maybe wait a couple more seconds for your steam one to build up. There's access in the back for your water. So it's super easy to get into, fill up the water systems there, and a great LCD screen that allows you to access most things so that you can adjust temperature of the water, the time, the volume, the pre-infusion as well. And lastly, fantastic little nifty one. I think the Breville are the only machines that actually create a little compartment tucked away right at the back in all of that dead space there. And it's magnetized, so when you pull it forward, it drags the case out. And this is where you can store things such as your blind portafilter, your steam one cleaner, brushes, baskets. The grinder has 30 steps, so that's 30 different options from coarse to fine. It's not as many as I would like to see on a grinder. I think having a stepless grinder where you can really narrow in on that grind, it would be much better. However, that's enough to get you started. And so if this is your first coffee machine that you need to buy and you don't have much bench space, perfect for that. The steam one is much better than the Breville Barista Express. The Breville Barista Express has like a fat, short one that's really hard to maneuver around. This is taken from the dual boiler and it's really great with 4 holes at the base and just delivers perfect steam. It's not that powerful, and because it is only a single boiler, it doesn't have the ability to make coffee and steam at the same time like the dual boiler does. However, you still can get that perfect silky milk and do all your nice latte art with just this steam one. There's obviously water, hot water under here as well. Again, you can't run that at the same time as your shot, but for most people, this is going to work perfectly. Now, you'll also notice that the tamper sits in place here. Because it's magnetized, it sits nicely in the little hole provided. It's not the greatest tamper. Another thing that you must note about the difference between the Barista Pro and the dual boiler is that it's a 54mm portafilter and tamper, which a standard one is 58mm. So just be aware if you're buying any accessories like a custom tamper, and I would recommend that you upgrade your tamper, that you need to look for a 54mm tamper or portafilter. That's the only problem, is that I really wish they had have made it bigger enough to fit in a commercial grade and standard size basket and tamper. But other than that, all in all, it's not a bad little unit. Okay, so you can see on the normal screen all of the different things that you're going to adjust. You've got your grind size, which is adjusted here on the side of the machine, and that can go up and down, as I said, 30 different steps. You've got your grind time. So this is how long it grinds the coffee for. So when you're adjusting the grind size to make it coarser, you need to also reduce the amount of time that it grinds for. Otherwise, you'll end up with overflowing your basket. You can see whether you're on a double or single dose for the grind, so that's the amount. I always just leave it on the double. I never use the single basket, and you shouldn't either. if you're making a single coffee, just use the double basket and then just cut it a bit shorter. You might use a little bit more coffee, but the single basket doesn't give you enough space to tamp, and I can show you that in a minute. Here you'll see it also says flush. That just tells you that it needs to be cleaned and you need to do a back flush with your chemical or your tablets. On the other side, you've got your shots, and you've got your single shot and your double shot button. Now, if you need to change the volume, you can easily access that by the menu button, and just by cycling through the menu options with the little dial, you can get to customize your shot, press the button, run that shot through as you would normally, make sure that you've got a perfect shot, then set it, and then it's perfect. If you want to, you can actually adjust the temperature of the machine. So the water temperature can actually affect the flavor of your coffee. Now, I would normally just leave it in the middle if you're new to coffee. If you're using light roasted coffees, you don't want to have cold water. Now, why would you need to change the water temperature? If you're using a lighter roasted coffee, then you might want to make the water a little bit hotter. And then if you're using a dark roasted coffees, you might want to make it a little bit cooler. Generally speaking, I would just leave it in the center. I think that's set to around 94 degrees, 95 degrees, and just leave it at that. It's only for the advanced users that want to get into their coffee a little bit more and get precision coffee going. They might want to play around with the temperature. You can also access things like you'd reset your defaults, descale it, and do your back flushing processes. That's it for the menu. I'll show you a little bit about how to extract coffee now, and we can see what that looks like. Now, today we're using some amazing coffee beans that I got from Peru, and if you want to buy any coffee beans from me, you can jump onto the website coffeebeansdelivered.com.au. We have a whole range of different delicious specialty grade coffee right there for you to purchase. I'm also releasing a full course dedicated to making coffee on the Breville Barista Pro, so you can purchase that on the website ultimatebaristacourse.com and also on coffeebeansdelivered.com.au. So without further ado, let's have a look at this extraction. Now, I always like to use the manual extraction. I don't use custom extractions, so what you do to override it is you actually hold the button down, and you'll see it says pre-infusion, and then the little manual light comes on. I also don't like using pre-infusion, and I just run the shot as it is, straight out of there with full 9 bars. The pre-infusion you can use for when you're making your coffee with really fresh coffee and you want to make it a little bit more oxidized. That can help you there. But for general use, I just use no pre-infusion at all. And when it gets to about 25 seconds or more, that you can cut the shot off there. Fantastic extraction actually for this sort of machine. Now we can look at the milk. Obviously we have to make the extraction first, then do the milk. Don't put the steam wand straight in because there's actually a lot of water that comes out of there. But once it gets going, the steam is actually pretty soft. It's a little bit on the wet side, which if you want to do really nice latte art, you want a drier steam. However, this gets in really nicely and it's still super soft, strong enough to get used that silky milk. Now, I would say when you're making milk, don't try to steam a huge jug of milk. It will take forever. It's probably one of the slowest steam ones that I've used, but you get that silky milk. So the trade-off is you get slower steam time, but you get nicer milk. And just have a look at that glossy, gorgeous milk there. It's amazing. Definitely they've done a good job of creating good milk. Perfect for making some latte art. Yeah, that's actually a fantastic coffee. It has a great extraction and the steam wand is perfect for everyday use. Some of the other features that it has in there is obviously a removable water tank. So that gives you the ability to carry it to the sink, fill it up and take it back. It doesn't have a standby mode, but it will turn off automatically by itself after a certain amount of time. And with the 3-second heat up time, it doesn't even matter that it turns off because it heats up so quickly and is ready to use straight away. I think it's 3-second heat up time. It's fantastic there. And so that's probably why they didn't put a standby mode on there. Now, obviously, just because it's a 3-second heat up time, I wouldn't be using it straight out of the gates when you turn it on in the morning. Make sure you run some water through here, through the portafilter, make sure that that's nice and hot Otherwise, you're gonna get a really different extraction. It's gonna not have all of those nice oils. So yeah, fantastic that it heats up in 3 seconds. It's still gonna take you another minute or so to heat up your portafilter. It's fantastic to fit your cups underneath. It will fit most cups. Obviously it won't fit like a 12-ounce cup underneath there, but any 8 to 10 ounce, perfect for fitting under there. Now, the one downside I do see with this machine, and I haven't seen this on many of the new machines because they do have a lot of technology for the extraction, is the water will boil up inside the group head, and when you press it, you'll notice that it comes out with a lot of force and a lot of boiling power. That really surprised me because that is something that I used to see on really old machines. When it would sit idle for a while, the water would boil up to a point and you'd have to purge the water before it would settle. And it still occasionally happens on your Rancilio Silvias, but on all the Breville machines that I've used, I haven't seen that happen. So it was really interesting to notice that this actually had something like that, which is not a great feature. And I wonder if it might be a fault or a model design. Now, I want to say I am not in any way affiliated with Breville, sponsored by them at all. These are all of my own opinions. And would I recommend this machine? I would say yes, but only if your budget is a restriction. If you can spend more money, I would definitely go out and buy a Breville dual boiler. It will cost you 1,000 Australian dollars for the unit and then another $200 or something for the grinder, if you're going with a grinder, a Breville Smart Grinder Pro. But if you don't have that money and you have to keep it under around $800, then this could set you on the right path. My only concerns is longevity. With all the Breville products, they aren't built to last forever. They're made with aluminium, brushed aluminium, and usually plastic parts inside. So one of those parts, when you heat it up and you add water, will eventually wear down and you will have to replace it. You can't really repair these machines because the labor costs of getting into there to fix those parts is more expensive than the machine itself. So be aware that you're probably looking at this machine for around 3 to 5 years. If you get unlucky, it's going to be the 3-year mark. However, even with the best luck, you're probably not going to look at it for after 5 years. It's still a fantastic machine, and I would say if you're new to coffee and you just need a simple way to make a great cafe quality coffee, then go out and buy one of these. They still can deliver an excellent punch. Just be aware, these are not the best machines on the market, but I think for this price point, it's a pretty good purchase. Yeah, so that's it for the brief overview of the Breville Barista Pro. Like I said, it's a massive upgrade from the Breville Express. However, I still think it falls short of the dual boiler. And I've just found out that the dual boiler has been discontinued, so maybe they're bringing out an even better dual boiler. Why, I don't know, they didn't make this one a dual boiler, but if you're looking for something at Christmas this year, it's 2021, this would be a fantastic Christmas present for yourself in the new kitchen. Now, if you want to dive deep into more about this machine, I have built an online course dedicated to making the best coffee on the Breville Barista Pro. If you've bought this machine or you're going to buy this machine, definitely jump on the website and purchase the Breville Barista Pro course. So jump on the website, ultimatebaristacourse.com or coffeebeansdelivered.com.au, and you can purchase the courses there. And you can also buy our lovely range of coffee beans, which we have in store. And if you like this review and you like the content on my YouTube channel, please give me a like or subscribe. Every little bit helps. I'm Ryan, your Chief Espresso Officer. Enjoy your brew.